Welcome to Q&A with Qlik. Today we're going to be talking about Qlik Cloud Analytics Administration. I want to quickly introduce myself. My name's Troy Rainey. I help put together helpful videos and webinars like this one. And we've got a great expert panel for you today. I'll just quickly pass it around the room, let everyone say a little bit about themselves. Daniele, why don't we start with you?
Thank you, Troy. This is Daniele. I've been working with Qlik since 2014, so it's been quite a while, and I work mostly with cloud support since 5 years back. So,
Great.
Yeah, Umberto.
Okay.
Umberto.
Hi everyone. Umberto De Domenico, based in Barcelona. Cloud adoption specialist. I've been working for a long time with Qlik, and happy to be here with you and try to resolve as many questions as possible.
Great. And Vinay.
Hey, hello guys. So my name is Vinay, and I've been with Qlik for more than 5 years now, and I primarily assist US SaaS support cases and customers.
Awesome. All right. Well, when you registered, you had an opportunity to submit some questions, and we had a good handful of questions here. But if you already have a question in mind, you can enter that in the Q&A tool, and we'll get to them in turn. First question: how to automate the rights provision for users to access spaces, or apps? So I guess what's the best way to do that, to automate rights?
Yeah, the automation, the automatically assignment to groups is something we already discussed this in the Tech Talk Admin 101, I think, Troy. And it's basically done by using groups. User can be grouped either with custom groups inside Qlik Cloud or by using the groups coming from the IDP claim. And that way, obviously, it makes a lot easier to assign automatically many users to the same, for instance, to the same space. There is also an automation script which may help you to implement this by using automations. In other words, to even or further improve the assignments in an automation way, in an automated way. Let me put it in the...
Yeah, I've got it here.
Yes, let me...
This knowledge article.
Give it to you, Troy, so you can post it down. Yeah. Oh, I think... Daniel has already done it. Yep.
But I'll share that with everyone. But yeah, that's a great tool. Lots of details there. All right. Thank you. Okay, next question. Is there a way to follow changes made to the product, like the removal of existing roles or adding new functionalities, etc.? So how do we can keep up with all the updates to the product?
I can take this one.
Thanks, Daniele.
So we have a great page on our help site, which is called What's New in Qlik Cloud. And basically, I can maybe share my screen and show it to you. Just a second.
Is this it? Sure.
And so this is a page that goes, are you able to see this? It goes...
No, try one more time.
No? Okay, sorry, I didn't press the final share button. Okay, so now you see that. This is what's new in Qlik Cloud. You can also subscribe to our RSS feed, and basically it goes back to years ago with everything that has been introduced or changed in the meantime in Qlik Cloud. So this includes everything. So includes also the integration parts. You see, this is data integration, but it's also analytics, new access control for Qlik reporting service, which was released today. And you can prepare, you can determine which developers can access these, and that's a new feature that has been requested actually several times by customers. Then we have the part about the developer portal. I mean, for strictly for developers, and we have the Qlik.dev, which is a useful resource for everything which is connected to APIs, the toolkits like the command line, Qlik Embed, and we also have basically everything that changes. You can also track it here concerning APIs and these kind of things.
Great. And I've posted the links to those two resources in the chat. Thank you. All right, next question. What is a good practice for publishing apps when using the Qlik SaaS Starter Pack subscription, which doesn't actually allow for managed spaces? So publishing is in quotes. Any ideas, suggestions on how to handle that?
Basically, in that case, you don't have managed spaces available.
Right.
So the idea is to use a share space, a duplicated share space, and give it the role of managed space. In other words, make a copy of the original developed app in a share space number one, and make a second copy of it in the second share space.
So duplicate and move, basically?
Yes. Yeah. Obviously, it's not the same because
Yeah.
when you have a managed space, you publish, and that automatically creates exactly the same version of the original share space app. In this case, it's something has to be done manually. It's the same
Yeah.
copy, but it's done manually. But it's
And
it's the
users
only
can still
way.
see the script if they have rights, but
And
yeah,
you can see still the script, unless you tune up a little bit the permissions. Yes.
okay.
If you tune up the permission, then the user will not be able to see those, those
While we're
the
on the
model or
topic,
the editor. Yeah.
while we're on the topic, I see another question came in that related to that. So that question is, what is the easiest way to move a published app in a managed space back to a shared space for redevelopment? And I don't know who would like to
Yeah.
address that, but I was just thinking,
I,
like, you don't need to
I can
really.
take this one.
Yeah, go
Yeah, I
ahead,
mean, we
Daniel.
really don't recommend it. We recommend that you have the original development app in the share space and you publish it to a managed space. When you publish it, it creates another app. It's not the original app. And you should not, we recommend that you do not delete the original app.
Yeah.
If necessary, you can still download the app in the managed space without data, put it back in a share space, but the recommendation is use the app in the share space or personal space for development and the managed space for publishment. Don't move it back and forth because it's not what we recommend.
And that way you can continue to develop in the shared space and push updates to the managed.
Exactly. Just to recall, to add further notes on what Daniel said, just to recall what we mentioned in the 101 tech talk for tenant admins, the copy, the published app in the menu space is nothing else than a clone of the app in the share space. And you have no way to change it. So there's no reason to move it back into the share space because it's just a copy for consumption users, for consumption purposes only. And if you have to make any change, you don't do the change in the managed space app, but you do the change in the share space app.
Yep. I just happened to zip to the chapter where you're demonstrating how that works.
Yeah.
So I'll make a post of that recording. Great. Thank you very much. Okay, next question. How can I view inactive users or see a list of users' last login date? So they're looking for inactive users. I guess they're trying to manage a lot of users at one time and weed out the ones that aren't actually being active. What's a good suggestion for that?
One of that option would be to use the audits API that listed on the developer portal. Let me share that link. So basically, you just have to filter out depending upon the time period that you need. It would be APIs/event/audits, and for the
Okay.
events longer than 90 days, you'll have to put in archive and then put in the date from which you need to start the data loading. And once you do that, you just have to look for the event called. I think it's better if I just paste it rather than
Okay, yeah.
telling that event type because it's a bit longer.
And if you're not that familiar with using APIs, the most recent expert talk, Qlik Cloud Admin 201, really focused on that. Where did I put that one? Here we go. Let me just post what Vinay was talking about. There we go. And Umberto goes through and demonstrates how to use APIs for a lot of different things, but he demonstrates it. And let me just post where you can find the audit APIs that Vinay was discussing. And here's the link to the recording for Qlik Cloud Admin 201. Great. All right. Next question. Are rights to data connections controlled by spaces, or can any app use any data connection on the tenant? Guess that can be confusing.
The general answer, yes, you can have data connection set up in one share space, not the personal spaces, obviously, because it will be personal, but in the share space and used in the managed space, or vice versa. However, I would invite the users, the people who are asking for this, to check the permission grid we have in the online help, because
That's
those are
this.
very useful. Let me send it to you.
I think I've got it here.
You got it? Okay.
So this is a list of the
That
different
make it,
roles: can manage, can edit, can view.
so you need to refine, depending on the type of users, what they can do or they cannot do with the data connections based on those permissions.
Okay, that's a good reference. I'll add that to the chat here. Thanks.
And of
But
course,
basically, yeah, go ahead, Daniele.
yeah, what we have on a shared space is only accessible by the people that have access to that space. For instance, you might have developers that are using connections to their own Dropbox for their own reason, and you don't want anyone just to be able to open
Sure.
any connection to anything, because that would be, of course, wrong. So yeah, then the reload in the managed space we can access the information from the share space, but in general, it's there are restrictions based on the space.
Yeah. So yeah, short answer, the rights to data connections are controlled by spaces. All right. Next question. How to allow for an Excel download in addition to the image or PDF download options? Those download options in the three dot menu, or if you right click, I guess, if you're looking at an app and you want to download. Isn't it some of that related to the type of chart or visualization you're looking at too? Well, I'll let you get
Yeah,
into it.
it's referring to any object inside the sheet can be downloaded into Excel format, but in a table fashion, okay? And so for that, you need to set up the permission, because by default, that's not enabled.
Okay.
And what you need to do is to go to the permission tab in the admin console and create a new custom role where you or modify the default role. If you want, I can share the screen and show that to you.
Yeah. I'll stop sharing, let you bring that up.
If I manage to get there, here we go. Can you
Not yet. Now it's coming.
see my screen now? Yeah.
Yes. So we're looking at your admin console.
Okay. So this is the admin console, manage user section, and then the permissions tab. Now in here, I have the user default permission, where I can define what a default user would be able to do. And between those permissions, we also have the ability to reach and manage. No, sorry, this is not the one. There you go. In-app content download. So
there it
under
is.
the feature and actions, you can select here to allow to download the content of an app, or no data or not allowed.
Okay.
Now this can be done in the user default, or it can be done in a custom role. So you can create a custom role and avoid that every user may be able to download those data. Maybe you don't want that.
Sure. But that allows people to restrict or provide permissions. That's great.
Yes, you could go here and create a new role and do exactly what we've done for the default user.
Great.
And to make it clear, as soon as one rule allows user to do something, all the other ones are not counted. So it takes just one rule that gives permission to a user to do something, a custom role, and everything else that denies it will be ignored.
That's good to be aware of. So granting more permissions takes precedence over denying.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if you assign a role to a group that allows user to do stuff, and then you create a second role denying users to do some things, and a user belongs to both groups, the user will be able to do what is allowed.
Okay. All right. Next question. How do you set up alerts when a specific app fails to reload? So a question around alerting. So if a task
I,
fails, a reload task fails, how can you set that up? Vinay, do you want to take this one?
yeah, so there are a couple of options. One is where you can set up an alert where you can look for an event called reload failed event, and then trigger a notification through your Teams or Slack, whichever tool that you use, and trigger a notification saying that, okay, this app failed and this is the app ID and the app names. And second option is that if you have email support configured, you can just go to I can show that.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing. Go ahead.
I hope my screen is visible. So
Yes, we can see it
if
now.
if I go to any of the apps where there are notification settings, and this is limited to this particular space. If you want to do it for the whole for your profile, you'll have to do it on your profile setting, but this is for this particular space. And if you go here to the app, you can set up an alert where the reload of an app in this space field, you can get a notification inside or on your mobile device or an email. And if you just select this, if you have SMTP configured, you'll receive a notification whenever any app in this space fails to reload.
That's great. And could you bring that up one more time? I just want to clarify. The bell was a notification that will appear here in the console.
Yeah.
The other one is for the mobile, right?
Yeah, mobile app.
Email. And what's the one on the end?
So this is
Email
like
version.
you get a bundle of notification not at a single time.
Okay.
If you have multiple app failures, you get a report as well, like a digest. You get a weekly report of if you have any tools like Slack or Teams. If you set up a bundled email, you get all the activities or failures every
For
week or
that
every
day.
15 days,
Okay.
stuff like that. So you get a notification or an email stating, okay, these are the activities that you received on this notification or the emails.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna jump over the next question. Do you plan to allow external links to be added to Qlik mobile collections? This would let users add specific reports, not just an app, to their mobile collection, making navigation much smoother. You guys heard of anything like
I
that?
can take this one, and I'm not aware of any such intention at the moment, but whenever you have an idea or a feature that you would like to have implemented, we recommend using our wonderful ideation portal that Troy is showing right now. And you basically can search for ideas that have already been logged. And if necessary, you can get into the idea and give your vote to it by liking it, adding a comment. The ideas that get more comments um, will be considered definitely by our dev team and by a product team, and then possibly developed somehow. If you don't find already a present idea, then you can suggest a new feature. It's if you go up, you see suggest features. You need to be logged in on Ideation, which means that okay, you're already logged in, and that's great. And then you can make a suggestion on the left, and you'll be able to suggest what you would like. And it's important that you provide as much context as possible. The product team will see all of the ideas that come in, and then they can think. Sometimes even ideas that have a low rating can still be implemented because maybe they're easy to implement, and maybe they add great value, and we think that it was something that we're really missing. So don't be afraid of using Ideation, the Ideation portal. If you cannot find anything, just go ahead and log it there, and you will get feedback. The product team will tell you when this is if we're just gathering feedback, or if we are planning to implement it at some stage. So don't be afraid to use the Ideation portal.
Yeah, it's a powerful tool.
Yeah.
Great, thanks. Next question. How can we use SAP connector from Qlik Cloud to on-prem SAP ECC or S4 HANA?
I can take this one as well.
Great.
As you might know already, there are two sorts of connectors in Qlik Cloud: the ones that are cloud to cloud, and the ones that goes through the Qlik Data Gateway that allow you to connect to your environment without having to open security ports. They don't necessarily coincide. So we might have something for the gateway that we don't have in the cloud, or we might have something in the cloud that we don't have in the gateway. So if I can show my screen, just a second, share. And these are the SAP connectors that we have. As you might see, some are present both in cloud native, and some go via the direct access and the direct access. Some other, for instance, the ODBC connector, which is not a SSAP connector, it's only via the direct access gateway. We don't support all kind of connections. For instance, HANA, we have it only via cloud to cloud. We don't have it via for the direct access gateway. So for HANA, the solution would be you would need to open the firewall and connect from the cloud to your on-premise environment. Some other ones that were mentioned, we don't have them. They're not present. They might have been present in QlikSense Client Managed. We don't have them on cloud because there is not much request for that. In that situation, you will need to find a possible other solution, like does it support the REST connections? Maybe you can use the REST connector.
Good idea.
Does it support basically moving via SQL instead, via something in the middle? Then you can use SQL. But these are the SAP connectors that we support, and you can see some are cloud to cloud and some are via direct access gateway.
And also,
Yeah.
last month we added a new sub-report connector, which was long-waited. So that's a great news for many of our customers.
And it's available both on cloud to cloud and via direct access gateway. So that's available now.
All right. Thank you. Next question. How can I perform a loop and reduce on an app based on a field, in this case, the country field? I see we have an article on that.
Yeah. There's an article where you can achieve this using automation, and it has the detailed steps and how you can perform this.
Great. So I'll just share that link and move on to the next question. Can reloads be triggered on the success of other tasks? Where are the settings for that? Anybody want to share their screen and show that off?
Yeah, I can share my screen.
Thanks, Vinay. So triggering a task on the success of another task.
So if I'm going to create a task in the new I can select the event
time.
based on, is it currently it's time? I can select based on another task successful, or if you have another reload previous to that is successful, then you want to trigger this app, then you can select that and then select the app that you want, and then set up this task where when the previous event or the task app that you have selected reload is successful completed, then this app will trigger the reload.
Great. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Next question. It's a follow-up to a previous one to the app in managed spaces. Does having the app in 2 spaces take a hit on capacity? It's a good question.
Yes. Yeah, as they do. Like if you have, app in shared space and you publish that to the managed space, that would be counted as, twice towards the capacity that has currently been raised as well. But that's the way it's currently designed. So
but isn't that
generally
the data that's being used? I thought. So
I know if you have an app in shared space and you publish it to a managed space, that is also counted towards your capacity per month.
Okay.
So one way is that you delete that app in shared space, or you use your personal space for developing and then you publish it to the shared space. Currently, yeah, that's how it is.
I mean, this is the way it has always worked, even on QlikSense for Windows. When you used to publish on a stream, you would duplicate the app, obviously, and so
Yeah, once for development, once for usage.
yeah, I mean it's pretty standard.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
the,
thanks for
the, the use
clarifying,
of the
guys.
capacity, what some customers, I know that they're doing a check on the variable for the current space, and then they determine how the reloads are done. So for instance, the same app, if reloaded on a share space, they can have a reduction on a set of data that gets loaded. So they load less data. They have an app with a limited amount of data, while the app which is in the managed spaces reloads the full set. That's something that you would need to implement at the script level, but it's doable. I know that I've seen that some customers do that. And yes, I mean, with capacity, you get a hit because you get the data loaded 2 times, and that will that might have a cost for you, but it's there are workarounds around that. Um, which if you feel that this thing with having apps into spaces is unfair for you, you can always log a feature request and an idea on ideation to count capacity differently. And I don't know, maybe the product team will agree to that. It's not anything that we can guarantee, but
There's
it's
a
always worth checking.
If you're interested in getting a better understanding of how capacity works, in the Qlik Cloud Admin 201, Umberto goes through a presentation here where he talks specifically how capacity is counted based on apps being reloaded and data files being added. So that's a good, I thought that was a very good explanation. So I just wanted to plug that. I'll copy the link to that part of the presentation. Thanks, guys. All right, next question. Is there a way to find out the theme that every app is using? Would be helpful when managing themes. Is that something that's visible in the app analyzer? The themes? I'm not really sure.
Good question. I don't know. I've never
Uh,
heard about it, so I don't think so, but it might be that it is. Let me see if I can
there
see.
is an API endpoint that could be used, I
Yeah.
think. Let me double check if that's the case. On top of that, I would like to remind that meanwhile I'm checking the API endpoint I'm talking about, I would like to remind that last month we gave the possibility for user to define CSS for single sheets, which is also a styling approach.
Mm-hmm.
Always keep in mind that we do not guarantee to maintain the same classes for CSS, regardless it's at sheet level or app level. So our recommendation is to stick as much as possible to the standard, and only if really needed to modify it, but always keeping in mind that CSS classes may change. We do not
Yeah. Yeah.
guarantee that for a long time, like in API, for instance, methods.
Great.
The visualization, I think,
Well, why don't you keep looking for that and
yeah,
you can drop it in the chat and if you find
sure.
it. I noticed some questions are in the chat. I'll run through them in a moment, try and pull those out. But if we haven't addressed your question yet, please make sure it's in the Q&A tool. That way I'll make sure I don't miss it. But there's a couple of questions here I think are related. How can we download the Excel and QVD CSV files from a space? And a separate question, how can we download the files from a space, shared or manage? So anyone want to address how to download uh, Excel/QVDs from a space?
Uh, So currently, as far as I know, it's not supported, like where you can't directly export QVDs, but what you could do is you could load them in an app and then use the store command. You can use and load that data onto your SharePoint or any of the external data sources that you want to use, and
Store
then
command, is
select,
that what that was?
yeah, the store command. I
Okay.
think we have an article on that.
Yeah,
Great.
that might change in the future once we have all customers moving to capacity licensing. The main thing with this that was that we didn't want, since we basically provided very large amounts of space, almost unlimited for uploading documents without the capacity model. We didn't want some customers to use that as a storage, and they
Mm-hmm.
can put files in and then download it. I'm very open and straightforward about that. So the decision was not to allow downloads, but once we have capacity, and then in that case we could make that kind of access also counted in the future, then we might allow the downloading. But that will come as part of having a cost. But so
Okay.
have a backup of all of your files that you upload, and then if necessary, if it, for instance, a QVD is reloaded in the cloud, you can also load it and store it somewhere else.
Great. Thanks. All right. Next question. Is it possible to do a list of all data files and sizes that I have in my tenant using API or Qlik CLI?
Good questions. You can list data files.
Which, yeah, I feel like I've seen that, but
But with the size, I'm not sure that you can.
okay.
Uh, so you can definitely.
I'm a little,
It-
I guess I would have expected that to be in
Is it possible
an
to
app
do
already.
as a list of data files? Yes, there is an endpoint for the data files where I was replying to. There is
Okay.
an endpoint for data files. Update,
and
and it's also
yeah,
available via CLI.
Great.
I mean, if you query the endpoint, you get all the data files, and you get also the size of that, but you get also other information. So you will have to find a way. I can share my screen.
Okay, I'll
So
stop sharing.
I queried the endpoint in the browser, and this is of course limited to 10, and I think the total limit that you can add is 100, but then you will need to find a way to paginate the request, and you get all the data files and you get the size. You will need to find ways of, don't know, finding a way of making this more human readable, load it into an app, and then maybe,
Yeah,
yeah, for instance, and
but it's
find
nice to
the
know that
information that
that
you
data
need.
is available.
Yeah.
Great. Next question. Why is it not possible to set up Gmail SMTP on the management console? So they want to connect their tenant using Gmail. I thought that it was.
It's coming in the future. So it was previously possible when Gmail supported basic authentication.
Oh, right. They changed
It's
that.
then when they stopped that, we implemented it for Microsoft. I know that it's also heavily requested, and it's also coming in the future for Gmail. Unfortunately, I don't have a date for that, but I know that it's many customers request it, and so it will come.
Okay. But answered your question, it was because Gmail changed the authentication that was allowed there. Okay. Next question. Are there sample demo apps for Qlik Cloud with custom CSS enabled for the sheet? I'm not aware of any. but there's definitely information out there on how to set up custom
Yeah,
CSS.
I've seen, fortunately, it's in Italian, but there is a nice video made by one of our pre-sales engineer in Italy who go through the styling of the sheet. Yes. Unfortunately, it's in Italian, so I don't know how.
I did one recently for help.qlik.com that I
Mm,
goes through the basics of how to use CSS. And in that we recommend, limit the amount of CSS you want to updates you want to make just to help you down the line when things change. So you don't have to go back in and fix all those
yeah,
things. But there's definitely videos out there.
yeah.
Next
There are plenty of videos for that,
next
but
question.
the ones I know are in Italian.
That
Sorry.
could be good for some. Uh, when creating alerts in an app, is there a way to limit or control which users show the share with other users drop down? Okay.
Uh,
So,
Currently, because I ran into this because when you share an alert, you get option to share it with everybody inside the tenant, not only the space where you have access to. So that's kind of an issue for some customers, and that has been raised. But there's a future coming down, like probably pretty soon by this year, where you could restrict the listing of users for the entire tenant so that you can allow only particular users to see the list of users inside the tenant. It's going to be a list of all the users whether you can see or no users at all. It's not going to be like certain users where you can see. It's not like that.
okay.
It's going to be whether you can list all the users inside the tenant or no users, you can't see it at all. So it's going to be those two options.
Okay. Thanks. Next question. Are in-printing features such as cycling and on-demand supported in Qlik Cloud? This is a user who hasn't used Qlik Cloud in a while. So
Yeah, the
cycling and
answer to
on-demand.
both questions is yes. We have improved the reporting, and so it's possible now to do many of the things that we were able to do with NPrinting, and on-demand reports and cycling are present.
And tabular reporting is a new feature that I think is pretty cool. Building reports directly in Excel.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we have the new other sort of reportings. So yeah, it's there has been a huge improvement in the reporting features in the past few years. So I really recommend that you check it because it's great now.
Great. Thanks. All right, next question. How can we generate a CSV file via tabular reporting on that topic? Okay.
As
Looking
far
to
as I
gen
know, we only support Excel, and let me see. I cannot. Uh,
Yeah,
um,
Excel.
I think we only
That's your
support.
Excel
understanding as well,
and
Umberto,
confirm. Yeah, we don't support CSV.
with tabular reporting.
And you just wonder what's the reason why you would use CSV rather than Excel. But of course,
Yeah.
it may be the case.
Okay. Well, I'll move on to the next question because there are several here. In cloud, what methods are available for backup other than performing manual exports? I feel
I
like
can
I've
answer this one.
okay.
So there is some automations that help you back up your applications to GitHub.
Right.
And we have the template already ready. So when you create the automation, it's present stuff, and you basically you run the automation regularly and then make backups. There are third-party solutions by partners that provide backup. One thing that I can tell you is that we are introducing, it's been heavily requested, a soft delete function, basically a recycle bin, that will allow you to keep deleted app for sometimes before they get removed from the tenant. We need to make first some changes in the backend, change the way that we store stuff, but after that, we will introduce the soft delete option. So you delete an app, it does not get removed completely. It will be just put in a recycle bin, and then you have a certain amount of days to get it back. But yeah, backup, we recommend using the automations, or if you want a more complete solution at the moment, there are several partners that offer a backup solution. You can Google for it, and you can decide
Great.
which one you like.
And it's nice to know that the soft delete is on the roadmap and that's coming soon.
Yeah.
That's great. Thanks. Next question. In automations, are there plans to include Google Drive as a files connector? I don't know about automation specifically, but you can load files from Google Drive in
Yeah,
Qlik
from Google
Cloud.
Drive, but in automations, we don't have support for that. And that's
Okay.
been requested by many customers. There is an idea on Ideation that has been there for a long time. I don't know the reason. I know there have been some technical reasons that would force us to postpone it. It's always in the talk of introducing it, but I don't think we have an ETA yet, but insist going to automation and requesting it. The more people do that, and the more the product team will look into that.
Yeah, so if you go to Ideation, find that request and vote on it, the more votes, the more you can lean on product management to activate that feature request. Okay, next question. What is the best way of managing data reloads and optimizing data to reduce the data pull? So we're talking about optimization here.
Well, I guess one possible answer is the one already mentioned by Daniele. Some organizations, some customers have a pipeline approach, which implies that in the share space, developers work on a limited range of data sets. And in the main space, the published app will have the real big data reload. That way, you can limit the amount of data that you're consuming inside an app. So that could be one way.
Okay, thanks.
Not sure if Daniele and Vinay have the other option, other ideas, but
Well, we've got a lot of questions coming in all of a sudden, so I'm going to see if we can get through some more. By default, what is the maximum capacity in gigabytes of space to store the data and max app size?
So,
sorry, go ahead, Vinay.
No, it's fine. So it totally depends upon the type of subscription that you own. So, but by default, if you are on user base, there is no restriction on the amount of data that you can store. But if you're on capacity side, it depends upon the limit that you purchase. It's 25, 50 GB, stuff like that. So it depends upon the subscription that you own.
Great. And I'll post a link to the documentation on that so you can review the options that are available out there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next question. What is the easier way to automate the transfer of QVF with data from a SaaS tenant to a capacity tenant? They've got a customer with a hybrid environment, and SaaS is used for development and parts and some users, but automation blocks are transferring apps without the data. That's an interesting question. So they want to transfer with the data.
Well,
I mean, that's kind of a temporary stopgap because eventually you want to have them reloaded in the cloud, I would think. But
I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, Vinay and Daniela, but they can really start with the QMT, the Qlik Analytics Migration Tool. But before doing that, they should use in the Qlik Sense for Windows infrastructure they have already set up, a SaaS readiness app, which is an app which will allow them to understand broadly what's the amount of data which needs to be used
Umberto,
for the migration.
sorry if I interrupt you. I think there is a misunderstanding. This is not about moving from client managed to cloud. It's moving from one tenant to another.
So,
okay.
I guess that the idea is to move an app that has already been loaded on a certain tenant to a capacity tenant where no reload is
there's an
performed.
option. If you could share
Yes.
the link I've shared in the chat, Rob.
Oh, thank you.
So we have an article out. It's going to use CLI and Qlik platform operations, and it's going to allow you to transfer, whole app, including your private, sheets and objects and nodes as well. So it's going to include everything that is there on
Oh,
this tenant.
great.
You just
Perfect.
have to customize those ownership of the apps, stuff like that, and it's going to allow you to migrate from one tenant to another tenant successfully. But this is majorly used like when, since we introduced anonymous subscription where the size of the, apps is
Hmm.
limited, and you'll use your main capacity tenant for developing the apps. And then once you're published, you could just use this method to publish the app to the anonymous subscription so that you can share it with, end users.
Nice. That's a nice use case. All right, let's move on to the next question. Any plans to create a backup or restore capability at an app level? We've talked about that a little bit, that there's availability of the template to publish to or makes copies to GitHub. And some partners have some options, but yeah, we've addressed that one. Any plans to better filter capabilities within the admin console? For example, filter on the license type. Events is also a little bit difficult to search and filter.
So any of those questions about what we have and what we don't have, the solution is use ideation. And because sometimes maybe our developers are not fully aware of what could be requested by customers. And if you think that something is not up to your expectations, don't be afraid to search for ideas that have already been logged or um, um, create a new one. As for the having an history of the last, we have it for the scripts. We don't have it for the automation for the application itself. With the new storage model that we're gonna implement in the upcoming future, it might be possible to do what you're requesting. So I have an history of apps. I'm not sure. I haven't checked the roadmap about this specific part, but again, I recommend using ideation and bring it up to the team. I know that some partners have that solution of backup and having certain versions of the apps. I know that some using, as Troy suggested, the automation, you can get a backup daily of everything that you have moved to GitHub, and then
Yeah, that's pretty great.
yeah. So
Uh,
there are solutions, but exactly what you're requesting right now is, I don't think it's available, and it might be coming. But again, use ideation to request features, and the product team will consider that.
Thanks, Daniela. Next question. When will the ability to use multiple active IDPs be available in the same tenant? And the answer to that question, I've had it in our previous sessions, is the answer is it's not. It's not on the roadmap. The best solution is to have a second tenant. If you have a different organization that requires a different IDP, perhaps you could set up a separate tenant for that one. Next question. Qlik application automation access to the data gateway.
No, it cannot access data gateway connections. It has to be analytics or cloud-based connections.
Okay, thanks. Next question. Looking for advice for viewers to go in and vote on the ideation then? Yes, we definitely recommend you check that out. Even if you don't have any ideas yet, please go in and see what other people have suggested. See if we can get through a couple more before we're out of time. When will be a better way to see things like current active reloads? So looking to see active reloads. Yeah, it's not possible in the cloud, I don't believe, to see what's
Yeah,
actually being managed, but yeah, Vinay?
this is one of the anticipated things on the roadmap, which is planned for, I think it's on the very verge of release. I think it's within the next quarter, it should be available where you can see the ongoing reloads and prioritize those reloads, like set the weight inside the management
Right.
console to prioritize. So that stuff is really interesting, and it's coming pretty soon. That's what I've heard.
Fantastic. Thanks.
You can still currently get information via the API call. So you query the reloads once, and you will see the status one of different and the ones that are, I think it's active, the status for that is happening in that moment, or
Yeah,
maybe I don't know.
correct.
But yeah, you use the APIs and you can get it.
All right, let's see if we can get through at least one more. Are there any other way to see the number of reloads per selected period? This help with the reload capacity estimations management. I know the monitoring app's reload analyzer, but it's not when it's as is, it's not supported by Qlik. Any ideas there?
Let's see the number of reloads.
So
Uh,
if there is an issue with the monitoring app, I saw that you brought that you logged it on GitHub. Usually our developers are consider it for improvements. So if you see an issue, I'm surprised that it was closed on GitHub.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, at the moment the monitoring apps are provided as they are, and uh, ideally some of those features would need to be brought in the product, and that's again something that I recommend using Ideation. Like instead of having a monitoring app, integrate those features in the product. That would be a great thing. So again, if more users request that, more people, more the product team will consider those options. So um, please request that, and it would be great also for us at support.
Yes, if you see any bug about the reload app, then although it's not supported, drop me a message, drop me an email, and I'll look into that. But if it's a new feature, an improvement, obviously the best place to go, as Daniel said, is just create an ideation or check for existing ideations.
Okay, guys, we're out of time. I want to thank everybody for the wonderful questions. Thank you to this great expert panel for addressing everything. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Have a nice day.
Bye bye.